auditors found 137 critical trials funded with taxpayer money involving 41,000 kids, and they didn't even report the results. What happened to the money?
Senator, I think that researchers we support have an obligation to share their data publicly with the American people, no matter what the result.
Otherwise, it's wasted.
Yeah, agree.
All you want to do is fix NIH, don't you?
I do. I want to fix all those problems, Senator.
Thank you.
What's up, fellow patriots? Welcome back to the Patriot Lens, the place where we speak truth, defend liberty, and call out the bureaucratic madness that's poisoning this great country from the inside out. Now, folks, today, I just watched one of the most telling, eye-opening hearings on Capitol Hill that I've seen in a while. Senator John Kennedy, God bless that man, went head-to-head with a top official from the NIH, and let me tell you, what we learned should have every single taxpayer in this country absolutely furious. Here's the truth. We, the American people, are funding medical research. That's not the problem. In fact, we want to support it. We believe in science. We believe in saving lives. But what we don't believe in is handing billions of our hard-earned dollars to elite universities, like Harvard with its $53 billion endowment, just so they can blow it all on administrative fluff and so-called overhead. 70% overhead? Are you kidding me? Let me ask you something. If you gave a mechanic $100 to fix your car and he spent $70 on renting a nicer office for himself, would you call that honest business? Hell no. You'd call it fraud. But somehow when Harvard or Yale does it, it's research. That's not research, that's a scam. Exactly, Senator Kennedy. Morally repugnant. These universities are sucking up NIH funds, which you pay for with your taxes, and spending it on things like renovating the vice provost's house or God knows what, instead of curing diseases that are actually killing Americans every single day. And here's where it gets worse. Brace yourself. Senator Kennedy rightly questioned why the NIH is funding projects like giving $120,000 to create 3D avatars for people with gender dysphoria, or $2.3 million to Brown University for studies targeting mental health in the LGBTQ community during COVID. Now listen, mental health matters. All people deserve dignity. But let's be honest, when Americans are dying of cancer, heart disease, and respiratory illness, when our veterans are suffering from PTSD and getting scraps from the VA, why the hell are we spending millions studying telehealth for gender-affirming care? I'll tell you why. Because the NIH has gone from being a medical institution to a woke, political playground for the left. And don't fall for the weak defense. We're a non-political organization. Well, you don't give out grants like this unless you've got an agenda. If I gave you $2 million and said, but no politics, and you turned around and used it to fund gender theory research, guess what? That's politics. Plain and simple.
Thank you. Senator Kennedy.
Doctor, you don't look like Satan to me.
I hope not.
Some of my colleagues have accused you of everything but abandoning your children to wolves. Do you hate medical research?
I've devoted my life to medical research, Senator.
Do you hate the NIH?
I love the NIH. I think I said that in my Senate hearing, my earlier Senate hearing. I think it's the most important biomedical institution in the world.
This budget that we're debating today is the president's budget. When's the last time Congress took a president's budget and enacted it?
You know, the funny thing is, I've gotten thanks to this process, I've got to talk with all of y'all.
When's the last time that happened?
I can't remember.
It's never happened in the history of ever happened.
I mean, everyone has strong opinions about what should happen, and Congress gets to have a say, and that's a good thing.
There's some changes that need to be made at the NIH, aren't there?
There are.
Okay. If I'm the president of a university, and I came to you at NIH and said, I need $10 million to research a cure for nephritis. And I took that $10 million and spent $5 million of it renovating the vice provost home. That would be morally repugnant, wouldn't it?
It would.
If I were a college president and I came to NIH and asked for $20 million to research a cure for dementia, and I took $5 million of that and used it to buy a yacht for my university. That would be morally repugnant, wouldn't it?
That would, and that's not.
And that's happened before, hasn't it?
That's not hypothetical, alas.
And there's been a lot of talk about the difference between direct costs, spending the money, for example, on researching cures for nephritis, and indirect costs, overhead. Harvard, for example, with a $53 billion endowment, spends 69% of its money from NIH on overhead, does it not?
I haven't looked at the latest numbers, but it's definitely in that range.
Yale spends 67.5% on overhead, does it not?
Again, roughly in that range, yes.
So all this money spent on overhead is money that's not being spent on medical research, is that right?
Well, it's for fixed costs of like lab space and things, but also sometimes for other things. So it's some of it's absolutely necessary.
Well, if I'm the Gates Foundation and I came to the NIH and said, I don't want money, I want to give you money. I want to give you $100 billion.
Yeah.
But you can't spend more than 10% on overhead. Would the NIH turn it down?
I wouldn't turn it down, no. In fact, I think that Gates Foundation overhead rates are roughly, again, in that range, 10 to 15%.
The Robert Wood Johnson Foundation limits overhead to 15%, does it not?
That's what I understand, something like that.
Now, I want you to think in terms of the American people and the importance of medical research. What do you think is more important? And we have finite resources. Okay, and I support giving resources to NIH. I think NIH does breathtakingly innovative work. But if you ask American people, would you rather give money to research cerebrovascular disease, or would you rather give $142,000 to the Seattle Children's Hospital to study how to use telehealth to improve access to gender-affirming care? What do you think the American people would say?
Senator, the NIH should be a non-political organization, non-ideological, addressing the health needs of the American people.
But yet, the NIH also spent $120,000 in a grant to, quote, develop 3D avatars that help people work through gender dysphoria, end quote. Did it not?
It did.
And the NIH also spent $2,368,492, gave it to Brown University to study, quote, improving mental health among the LGBTQ community impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Did it not?
I think it did. Although I have to say that we should...
You think that's more important than studying chronic lower respiratory disease?
I mean, I think we should address the real health needs of Americans, not divide Americans into we have to take into account the real differences in in the biology of people. But when we do that, we should do it in a way that really addresses their actual health needs. Not
I'm running out of time. What we have to do is spend the money on research.
We should. Absolutely.
It's real simple.
I agree with you, Senator, 100%.
And some universities aren't. NIH is not calling them on it. Isn't it a fact that a study showed between 2017 and 2019, auditors found 137 critical trials funded with taxpayer money involving 41,000 kids, and they didn't even report the results? What happened to the money?
Senator, I think that researchers we support have an obligation to share their data publicly with the American people, no matter what the result.
Otherwise, it's wasted.
Yeah, agree.
All you want to do is fix NIH, don't you?
I do. I want to fix all those problems, Senator.
This isn't about health anymore. This is about ideology, the kind that divides Americans, pushes radical gender experiments on kids, and calls anyone who questions it a bigot. Now Senator Kennedy also brought up something that absolutely blew my mind. Over 130 clinical trials involving 41,000 children, all funded by taxpayers, and they didn't even report the results. That's your money. That's our children. And it's just gone? No accountability. No transparency. No respect for the American people. Let me tell you what needs to happen. 1. Overhead caps. No more of this 70% nonsense. If the Gates Foundation can cap overhead at 10%, so can our federal government. That's just common sense. 2. Real oversight. We need watchdogs. We need audits. We need people in Washington who actually read these grants before signing the checks. 3. Defund the woke. If a grant is more about pushing an agenda than curing a disease, it should be shut down, period. 4. Respect the taxpayer. This isn't monopoly money. This is the blood, sweat, and sacrifice of the American worker. It's time our government started acting like it. We are a nation of innovators. We put a man on the moon. We eradicated polio. We revolutionized medicine. And we can do it again, if we get the politics out of science and put the people back at the center of public health. But we can't just sit back and hope. It's up to you and me to speak up, to vote, to hold these institutions accountable, and to remind them they work for us, not the other way around. If you agree, if you're tired of being lied to, tired of your money being abused, tired of wokeness infecting everything from education to medicine, then hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and share this video with everyone who loves this country and is ready to fight for it. I'm your host, a proud American, a freedom-loving patriot, and a believer in real science, real values, and the Constitution of the United States. God bless you. God bless our troops. And God bless the United States of America.